We're putting the boxing gloves on this morning and talking with Earl Lewis and David Irby. And good morning to both of you guys this morning.
Hey, Dale.
Good morning.
Where's your gloves at, Coach?
Well, I left them at home purposely. I didn't want to have to fight you this morning, so.
Kind of early to be doing that for sure. Hey, tell us a little bit about, and of course you can properly introduce David more than I. Tell us a little bit about what's going to be going on soon as we honor the late Bill Irby.
Well, as far as introducing David, one of my oldest friends, we've been buddies since the 7th grade, his wife as well, and we all graduated from high school together. David and I played football for Sylacauga together, and he was an aeronautical engineer by trade and graduated with the University of Alabama, lives in Florida about 6 months out of the year, in Lake Martin the other 6. What a life.
Must be tough,
What
right?
a life, what a life, yeah.
But David, good morning. Thanks for being with us on Daybreak this morning. And
Glad to be here.
The Alabama Boxing Hall of Fame has announced its 2018 class, and the late Bill Irby of Sylacauga won the manager, trainer, promoter category. A former amateur and professional boxer, founded Sylacauga's Boys Club and started a boxing program. Put on many shows and had multiple state and regional championships. And David, talk about your dad a little bit.
I will. He did start out in boxing as a Golden Gloves boxer. He got a scholarship to Georgia Military Academy for boxing. And in the mid-30s, he became professional. He ended up, he went into Jim Braddock's training camp.
That's a boxing name.
As a sparring partner. And Braddock lost the heavyweight championship to Joe Louis in 1937. So shortly after that, Dad retired. I came along. I guess I kind of got in the way, maybe, but he retired, and eventually he went into law enforcement in Barber County. He was a deputy sheriff. They used to break up a few stills and so forth around Barber County. And then at the beginning of the war, he got on with Alabama Ordnance Works in Chillersburg in law enforcement. He was in security there. And then he eventually, after the war, got a job here at Avondale Mills. And he became the editor of the Avondale Sun. Casey Rumsey's mom, I believe, was the editor, and she retired, and he became editor of the Avondale Sun, and he did that for many years until his death. But during that time here, he sponsored boxing, Golden Gloves boxing, developed a lot of really good amateur fighters all over this.
Who are some of those fighters that he helped?
Oh, Dickie Davis was one of the Davis family, was here for many years. Dickie Davis was one. He went to University of South Carolina on a boxing scholarship. One of the other notable guys was Jimmy Craven. And of course the local guys, Billy Ray Barber, Clifton Dennis, Alvin Dennis, Luther Parnell, just a lot of local guys that performed well, were great boxers.
Archie Horton. Whose son still lives here,
yep.
Well known in the town.
Archie Horton. So he developed a lot of talented boxers here in Sylacauga. And of course, my dad was associated with a lot of the boxing greats. Mm-hmm. He was, like I say, Braddock. He was around Joe Louis, and he knew a lot of the promoters during his years of promoting Golden Glove boxing in the Southeast. He used those contacts with a lot of the promoters around the Southeast, and had a lot of matches out of town. He took the boys to New York City one time, and I remember we made a trip to Kansas City with Dickie Davis, so he was associated with you know, a lot of the really famous people in boxing. He brought Jay Thomas here as first manager of the Boys Club. Jay Thomas was affiliated with the Stribling family, who had a couple of sons that boxed. One of the sons was called Young Stribling. He had a shot at the light heavyweight title in 1926, and he got beat by Paul Berlenbach. And then he had another shot at the heavyweight title in 1931, and he lost to Max Smelling. But you might remember Max Smelling beat Joe Louis one time, and then they had a rematch, and Joe Louis knocked him out in the first round. Jay Thomas
made him mad, I believe.
Yeah, right. Jay Thomas was the public relations director for the Stribling family. It was called Pa Stribling and Son, and they were promoters, boxing promoters in the 30s, and Jay Thomas worked with them. But my dad knew him. He met him in Birmingham and got Jay Thomas here. The early days of the Boys Club was just a shade off of the really well-known and famous people in the boxing world, and had a lot of success here in Sylacauga with the Boys Club boxing.
Earl, being chosen as a part of the Alabama Boxing Hall of Fame for the class of 2018, now, that is a huge honor. Yeah,
we think it is, Jimmy, and real proud of the fact that we were able to help get that through. To be completely honest about the whole picture, this is only the second year of that Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. The first year, Joe Louis and Deontay Wilder went in as the headliners of the class, but we think it's even more of an honor to Bill to go in that early. He went in on the first ballot. He wasn't nominated previously, and they say that that's going to be very rare to have a man nominated and go in on the first ballot. And when they saw the credentials that Bill Irby had put together through his lifetime as a boxer, as a promoter, as a trainer, as a Boys Club supporter and so forth, they thought he deserved to go in quickly, and that's what's happened.
David, being elected this year, Bill Irby, in with some great ones like Evander Holyfield.
That's right. We get to meet Evander Holyfield Friday night. That's going to be great, and looking forward to the program. It's a boxing program with an awards program.
Where's it going to be now?
It's going to be in Tuscaloosa.
The River Market, which is in downtown Tuscaloosa, on the river bank, obviously.
Yeah. So they'll have some. The program is boxing, a boxing card, and then alternating with the installation of those people that are going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Now, are there tickets available for the event, or?
I'm sure there's probably. I'm not sure how they are.
I talked to Jay Dees, who is one of the board members of the Hall of Fame. David and I both have corresponded with him off and on for about a year now. But tickets are available. They've got $50 tickets and $100 tickets. Mm-hmm. Either of them come with dinner and a souvenir program of the event. The $50 tickets are general admission, the $100 are reserved seating, and they say there's not a bad seat in the building. I've never been there, so I don't know, but they are available, and I think I've got a phone number on some of the material I gave you to call, if we can find it.
All right. Bill Irby, actually not from Sylacauga, kind of adopted Sylacauga as his hometown.
Yes, that's what I say. When he was working with Alabama Ordnance Works, we moved from Eufaula I guess I was about 3 years old. We moved to Eufaula and with a short stay in Birmingham. And then the Sullivan Housing Project was built, and a lot of people were able to move into that. So that's where we first came into Sylacauga, was in Sullivan Court. And we stayed there for quite a number of years until we eventually moved down here on South Broadway. But yeah, he came to Sylacauga at that point and got in with Avondale Mills, and he was a journalist. He was a very good writer. He started the All Alabama Sports magazine, and I guess that got him a job with the Avondale Mills, and he eventually ended up being editor Avondale Sun and public relations director for Avondale Mills, vice president, and so forth at the time of his death. So,
Earl, you being a writer, how did Bill Irby, not just maybe in writing, but overall influence your life?
Well, I knew him because David and I became friends, as I said, in the 7th grade, so I was in and out of their house some when we were kids as well. But to be honest with you, I got to know him better after I got out of college, Jimmy, and I worked for the recreation department, as you remember, because you played in one of my basketball leagues.
That was pretty good, too, you know.
Yeah, you were a hot shot. And, but anyway, Mr. Irby was in and out of the old rec center several times every week because he was in every civic organization we had around here. And so I saw him a lot of times, 3 and 4 times a week, and we had a different relationship than a kid and an older man. We got to be friends on a different level, and I was always impressed by him. He was such a friendly person. He didn't ever meet a stranger, and he handed everybody he met a stick of beech nut chewing gum. In fact, the day before he died, he gave me the last stick of beech nut chewing gum I got from him, and he just became a kind of a hero to me, just to tell you the truth, as a kid and as a young adult too, when I was first out of college.
David, I'm looking at a memoriam here,
yeah.
and one of the quotes comes from Dickie Davis,
Yeah.
Birmingham insurance executive and the Sylacauga guy who was under Mr. Irby's tutelage, and he says this in his statement. He said, quote, "I never saw him take a drink of any alcoholic beverage, probably couldn't afford it, but as he paid most of the boxing expenses out of his own pocket."
He did a lot of that. He brought the Indians here trying to raise money for the boys club. They promoted a group of people from Oklahoma, and they came in here and they wore the Indian outfits, and they had a parade and trying to promote boxing, but and they had wrestling and boxing in the boys club itself down here.
Where was it located then?
It was on right. The first one was over on by Arnold, where Arnold Supply is, right?
Yeah.
It started there, and then it went down closer to
Broadway,
the high
on
school on Broadway. Yeah.
1 block
Yeah.
south of Sylacauga High School,
Yeah.
half a block. But it was in the old Arnold Supply building, and Tommy Bivin, who boxed a little bit when he was real young, he got smart enough not to do that sooner or later, but he tells me that they actually practiced in the area where the old city barn was, and probably nobody that's listening, but it was in the area where the old Walmart store was, where Save-A-Lot is now, was the old city barn, and Tommy says they set up a ring down there before they moved into the Arnold Supply building and the building down on Broadway.
David Irby, along with Earl Lewis, joining us as we look forward to Friday when the induction of the late Bill Irby of Sylacauga in the Alabama Boxing Hall of Fame. Carl Parrish, who is deceased now, he was quoted as saying, as president of the Sylacauga Athletic Club, sponsoring organization for the Golden Gloves of Sylacauga, puts it this way. He said, quote, "We just couldn't hold a boxing debut without holding it in Bill Irby's honor."
I was there.
I was too.
Yeah, I was there, and yeah, that was
No.
We have a program. That's the program for that.
I don't
Show
know if
that,
it'll
Coach.
show
Yeah, that's
too.
yeah,
But this was after Bill was
All right, when was that?
1972.
1972.
Okay. Yeah.
Bill was killed in November of '71 in the automobile accident, and this
His
was
wife was killed
his
as well?
wife as well.
Okay.
And they did this in his memory, and that's the point at which they renamed the Boys Club from Sylacauga Boys Club to the Bill Irby
It's
Boys
been renamed
Club.
since.
Yes, it has, and that's unfortunate. Not any reflection on the person's name for it, because he's a great man too. But we would like to have seen it named for both of those two gentlemen, Harold Brooks and Bill Irby.
Bill Irby obviously was an icon in our area, and not only just in our area, in the state of Alabama and the country. What kind of boxer was he?
He was pretty good. He came out of retirement, and like I say, trying to raise money for the boys club, and I would ride my bicycle, and he would run and train for that, and they set up a ring down in the Mignon baseball park, and he had his last fight down there, which he won. He by knockout. He got his head jammed into an old turnbuckle in the corner, and he cut his head. So we had to finish this guy off, and he did. And so he must have been really good.
Well, the story that goes kind of along with that I've heard, I either had just moved here or that happened right after I moved here when I was 9 years old. I'm not sure, but the guy, it was really supposed to have been kind of an exhibition to raise money for the boys club, and they were going to spar around and make it look good, and this guy decided he was going to try to up his stock a little and knock Bill Irby out. And it turned out that he shouldn't have done that, because Bill took
Bad
care of
mistake,
it.
huh?
Yeah, bad mistake. Yeah.
David, you talked about him being a writer. I'm looking at an article here. Son, you are discouraged. Obviously, he was quite the writer.
He was. When he wrote that article, he was very frustrated because the community didn't seem to want to get behind the boys club idea, and his goal was to help boys, give them opportunities, athletic training, and let them participate in athletics, and that's what the boys club was all about. But he had a lot of discouraging times there. And he just flat wrote that article and says, look, if the community doesn't want to do this, I'm out of here, and basically that's what he said. And shortly thereafter, the community got behind the
Community
boys
listened,
club.
didn't they?
They got behind the boys club. They really did.
That's fantastic.
And David mentioned supporting athletics. Bill supported the high school athletic program. He and Coach Bill Harris were good friends. In fact, they were across the hall neighbors in the apartment building down on South Broadway. And he was big in the old Cotton States tennis tournament that we had. He and Buck Moats and Curtis Lyles and Coach Harris and Bill Irby were four of the prime movers in that, which was a really big event in Sylacauga in the 1940s and 50s. So he was involved in everything good that went on in this town. I'll just tell you.
We've got the event coming up, Alabama Boxing Hall of Fame announcing its 18 class, and the late Bill Irby of Sylacauga winning the manager, trainer, promoter category. And to get tickets, here's a number for you to call, 205-799-1696. That's 205-799-1696. Tickets $50 and $100. All tickets come with dinner and the official fight program booklet included. So if you got boxing in your blood, this is an event you don't want to miss, David.
That's right. That's right. We're associated with a lot of the greats in boxing here in Sylacauga, and it's great to be recognized for it. But it's this Hall of Fame presentation.
We've got several people from here going over, myself and Buddy Simpkins and Rooster Grice and Ray McDermott. And I think Mark Barber, Billy Ray Barber's son, is going with us as well. And of course, David and his family. I think all three of your kids are coming in from
That's
points
right.
all over the country.
That's right. Yeah.
California, Texas, and
California,
Florida, where
yeah.
his kids live.
That's
They're
right.
gonna be around.
I remember this Billy Ray Barber. He was a 7-Up route salesman or manager or
Yeah,
something years ago,
yeah.
and I remember him. You'd be talking about boxing, and you'd see him running.
He ran all over town and all over Talladega County, actually, there for a while. And his wife started running with him at one time. And yeah, Billy Ray had the reputation of having the quickest hands of anybody. I've talked to several people that, like David, lasted one bout with Luther Parnell. Several people, Billy Ray Barber made them retire from boxing after one round with him because his hands were so quick, and he hit them 20 times while they hit him once or something. And he turned pro. He had 23 or 25, I forgot which, professional fights, and won most of them too.
You know, over at the old rec center, didn't we have some bouts in there at one time too?
Now I know there was a ring outside the old rec center at one time, and do you remember any more about that?
No, Ray McDermott talked about
Yeah.
boxing and stuff like that.
I went down there one night, Jimmy Dale, a guy named Billy Jackson, who was he was a football player at Silicaga when I was about 10 or 11 years old, and he was going to box. And Buddy and I went down there. David may have been with us, but I know Mike Mazzell. We went down there to see Billy Jackson. He got knocked out in the first round, so he wasn't our hero anymore after that.
What you done for me lately, right? Let's capsule right quick. Got a minute or so to go. Capsule right quickly. What's going to be happening Friday?
Well, the event starts at 7 o'clock. It's being promoted by the Alabama Boxing Hall of Fame group, and a fellow named Jay Dees is one of the board members. The fights, like David described a while ago, they'll alternate between an induction ceremony and a short boxing match. And then they'll do another till they get all 5 of the gentlemen that are nominated for this year inducted. And there'll be a buffet meal that'll be served during the time everything's going on, and you can basically, the way I understand it, eat whenever you get ready and go and come as you need to. And besides those guys that are going together, 2 of our old buddies, 2 classmates of David and I, Richard Brown and Casey Rumsey, live in Tuscaloosa, and they're meeting us there. So we're going to have a good
Be a reunion, won't it?
reunion and a good support group for a great man.
205-799-1696 to get your tickets for the induction of Mr. Bill Irby into the Alabama Boxing Hall of Fame coming up Friday. And David, thank you so much for coming today.
Enjoyed it.
And
Thank
Coach
you, Dale.
Lewis, always a pleasure to see you. And it can quickly, I'll get it and we'll announce it later. But thank you all for being a part of Daybreak this morning. And thanks to David Irby and Earl Lewis for joining us to talk about local boxing and local legend Bill Irby.